Welcome back to Yield Curve Trader, where we break down the biggest market moves in plain English, so you don't need a finance degree to stay ahead. If you are new here, hit subscribe right now, because today we are covering one of the most explosive earnings reports of this entire year. And I promise you, by the time this video is over, you are going to understand exactly why AMD's stock ripped 16% in a single day. Let's go. Here is a question I want you to think about. Everyone knows NVIDIA dominates AI chips. It's the story that has dominated every financial headline for the past 2 years. But what if I told you there is another chip company, one that most casual investors have underestimated for years, that just reported a quarter so strong that it forced Wall Street to completely rethink the entire AI trade? AMD just dropped their Q1 2026 results, and the numbers are extraordinary. 38% revenue growth, data center revenue up 57%, record free cash flow, and a Q2 guidance that sent the stock to an all-time high. But here is what makes this story genuinely fascinating and why you need to stay with me until the end. It's not just about the chips AMD is selling today. It's about a massive shift in how AI is evolving, a shift that CEO Lisa Su says is just beginning. And it involves a concept called Agentic AI that is quietly reviving an entire chip category that most people had written off. Stay with me, because this one connects all the dots. Let's start with the scoreboard. AMD brought in $10.3 billion in revenue for Q1 2026. That is up 38% from the same quarter last year, and it cleared analyst expectations of $9.89 billion by a meaningful margin. Earnings per share on a non-GAAP basis came in at $1.37, beating the $1.27 consensus. Now let me give you two numbers that don't appear in most headlines, but that tell the real story of how healthy this business is. Net income hit $1.38 billion, up 95% from 1 year ago, nearly doubled. And free cash flow, the actual cash the business generated, came in at $2.566 billion. That is more than triple what AMD generated in the same quarter last year. Triple. And it is a new all-time record for the company. These are not just good numbers. These are the numbers of a company that has completely transformed itself. Now, where is all this growth actually coming from? The answer is the data center segment. And the number here is the most important of the entire report. Data center revenue hit $5.8 billion, up 57% year over year. That segment now represents the largest part of AMD's entire business by a wide margin. Two things are driving this explosion. First, EPYC server CPUs. AMD's server processors are winning market share at an accelerating rate. Lisa Su said on the earnings call that even the hyperscalers, the Googles and Metas and Microsofts of the world, are surprised by how much CPU demand is coming from AI workloads. And I will explain exactly why in just a moment. Second, Instinct GPUs. AMD's AI accelerators are ramping fast across cloud providers, enterprise customers, sovereign AI projects, and supercomputing centers. The demand for AMD's Instinct GPUs is accelerating every single quarter. And here is the headline that most financial journalists buried. AMD is about to ship its first ever full rack-scale AI system, called Helios. This is AMD's direct answer to NVIDIA's Blackwell and Vera Rubin systems. And here is the part that should make every investor pay attention. Both OpenAI and Meta have already signed up for Helios shipments. Meta has a multi-year deal with AMD involving up to 6 gigawatts of GPU capacity. OpenAI, the most important AI company on Earth, has chosen AMD as a viable second option alongside NVIDIA. That is not a minor footnote. That is a tectonic shift in the AI hardware landscape. Now let me explain the concept that Lisa Su kept coming back to on this earnings call, because it is the key to understanding why AMD's growth is going to accelerate from here. The concept is Agentic AI. For the past 2 years, AI has mostly been about chatbots and tools that answer questions. You ask a question, you get an answer. That model requires enormous GPU power, which is why NVIDIA has been the biggest winner. But AI is evolving fast. Agentic AI is about AI systems that don't just answer questions. They actually do things. They book meetings, they manage workflows, they analyze documents, make decisions, and run entire business processes autonomously. Think of it as AI going from assistant to employee. And here is the critical insight that Wall Street is only beginning to understand. Agentic AI doesn't just need GPUs. It needs enormous amounts of CPU power to orchestrate all those AI agents running simultaneously. And the best server CPUs in the world, by a growing margin, are AMD's EPYC processors. Lisa Su put it plainly on the call. Agentic AI is driving demand for high-performance CPUs and accelerators simultaneously. AMD is the only company outside of NVIDIA that can supply both, and AMD has something coming that could make this story even bigger. It's called Venice, the next-generation EPYC architecture built on TSMC's cutting-edge 2-nanometer process, targeting a second-half 2026 launch. Lisa Su says it will deliver dramatically better performance for exactly the kind of workloads that agentic AI demands. This is not a defensive move. This is AMD planting a flag on the next frontier. Now let's talk about where AMD says they are going, because the guidance is where this story gets even more interesting. For Q2 2026, the current quarter, AMD is guiding for approximately $11.2 billion in revenue. That is up 46% year over year, and it came in well above the analyst consensus. Non-GAAP gross margin for Q2 is expected at approximately 56%, slightly up from Q1's 55%, showing that margins are moving in the right direction as they scale. AMD also significantly raised its long-term forecast for the data center CPU market, projecting the total addressable market will exceed $120 billion by 2030. Think about what that means. The server CPU market AMD is competing in is going to be worth $120 billion in 4 years. AMD is already winning market share, and agentic AI is pulling that demand forward faster than anyone expected. Lisa Su said something on the call that I think is the most important forward-looking statement of the entire earnings season. She said, paraphrasing, "Every indication she is seeing today suggests the compute market is even larger than she previously thought, and she previously thought it was going to be enormous." So how did the market react? Explosively. AMD's stock surged 16% on Wednesday, one of the single largest single-day moves for a company of this size. The stock hit new all-time highs above $412. For context, AMD's stock has more than tripled over the past 12 months. The AI trade is very real, and AMD is sitting right at the center of it. Analyst reactions were immediate. Wedbush, one of the most closely followed semiconductor analysts on Wall Street, raised their price target to $400, maintaining their outperform rating. They cited AMD's clear path to taking a dominant share of the server CPU market as AI infrastructure spending accelerates. The broader analyst consensus has quickly shifted to reflect the new reality. AMD is no longer NVIDIA's distant second. It is establishing itself as the essential alternative that the entire AI industry needs. So what is the takeaway? AMD is proving, quarter by quarter, that the AI trade is not just an NVIDIA story. They have built a genuine two-engine growth machine. GPU accelerators pulling in hyperscalers and AI labs. EPYC CPUs winning server market share driven by agentic AI demand. And Helios rack-scale systems backed by Meta and OpenAI, giving them a seat at the very top table of AI infrastructure. The bull case is clear. The product lineup is strong. The customers are the best in the world. And the market they are addressing is getting bigger every single quarter. The bear case is real too. The stock has already tripled. The valuation demands consistent execution, and the Helios ramp is complex. Lisa Su herself said these are very complex systems. Any stumble there would be felt. But here is what is no longer debatable. AMD has arrived as a genuine force in AI. And if agentic AI accelerates the way Lisa Su believes it will, the growth story is only just beginning. That is our breakdown of AMD's Q1 2026 earnings on Yield Curve Trader. If this video helped you understand AMD's story in a way that actually makes sense, please give it a like right now. It takes 1 second, and it genuinely helps this channel reach more investors just like you. If you know someone who owns AMD stock, is thinking about the AI trade, or just wants to understand understand what is happening in markets, share this video with them today and drop a comment below. I want to hear from you. Do you think AMD can eventually challenge NVIDIA's dominance in AI chips? Or is NVIDIA's lead just too large to close? Let's debate it in the comments. I read every single one. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss our next breakdown. Apple earnings and the NVIDIA Q1 FY 2027 results on May 20th are coming next. Thank you so much for watching Yield Curve Trader. See you in the next one.